Although religious works dominated the Italian Renaissance, it was not uncommon to see Greek or Roman myths in paintings. With the rise of humanism and reverence for many ancient traditions during the Renaissance, mythological scenes became more common. By allegorizing more sensitive topics through the use of gods and goddesses, artists and patrons could display and discuss sex and love. Domenico Beccafumi, an artist from Siena, painted one such work titled Venus and Cupid in 1530. Venus and Cupid served little religious purpose and allowed Beccafumi to enter Renaissance discourses surrounding love, marriage, and sexuality. In Venus and Cupid, the body of Venus and the tree that she stands against bisect the painting into two halves. The right side of the painting contains plants and animals in the foreground. Various birds can be found on the ground and in the sky. Water and cliffs recede into the background. Venus looks down at Cupid but points to the scene behind her, the right side of the painting, referring to her birthplace and her connectedness with water. The orange clouds give a sense of time, sunset or sunrise, but also unite with the fire and smoke on the other side of the painting. On the left side, Cupid stands close to the picture plane and looks up at Venus in the center, who holds 3 of his arrows. This disarming of Cupid can also be seen in Bronzino's An Allegory with Venus and Cupid, as Venus holds one of his arrows above his head. Behind Cupid, Vulcan hammers one of his wings at his anvil while Mercury stands next to him. The iconography of Vulcan forging Cupid's wing enjoyed brief popularity in northern Italy during the Renaissance and could be a representation of the idea that love conquers all. Above Vulcan and Mercury, a series of caves and rocks recede into the background. Among the rocks, a battle occurs. Bodies hang from gallows and fall from high places. Explosions go off and fires burn. Dark smoke fills the sky above. Through a cave, the silhouette of a winged creature crawls upward toward the battle. The left side represents a more earthly and wicked place and starkly contrasts the other half of the painting, the side that Venus points to. Venus commands Cupid to fly to the right side of the painting, suggesting that one can escape wickedness and war through love. When reading the painting counterclockwise, a story emerges. The viewer moves from the battle scene to Vulcan hammering Cupid's wing. At the bottom, Cupid has been given his wings and stands ready to fly at Venus's command. However, he appears hesitant because Venus holds his arrows out of his reach. After following Venus's arm to the right side of the painting, the viewer ends the story in a wonderful landscape full of life. The bisecting of the painting might also be a reference to Venus herself. Ancient and Renaissance scholars believed that there were multiple versions of Venus, each version governing a different plane and type of love. Plato believed Venus could be terrestrial or celestial. The nudity was a symbol of the celestial, while the wildlife below highlights the terrestrial. The duality of Venus reflects the way in which Renaissance individuals viewed love. Similar to the 2 main versions of Venus, those in the Renaissance recognized 2 different kinds of love, earthly and heavenly. They saw courtly love as earthly and purely sexual, while Neoplatonic love could bring partners closer to God. The painting references courtly love through the inclusion of Vulcan. Many Renaissance viewers would have been aware of Venus's marriage to Vulcan and her affair with Mars. However, the serene right side of the painting reminds viewers of the heavenly beauty that can come from love. To those in the Renaissance, love was both positive and negative. This dichotomy can also be seen in Bronzino's An Allegory with Venus and Cupid. While Venus and Cupid kiss erotically in the foreground, behind them, a representation of syphilis screams. This contrast can also be seen in the little girl in the background, who holds a honeycomb in one hand, a symbol of love and passion, contrasted by a scorpion stinger in the other hand. While love is pleasurable, there could be consequences for it. Those in the Renaissance also associated Venus with marriage. Marriage was viewed as a civic duty that had the potential to bind nations and provide the greatest pleasures in life. The female nude, especially images of Venus, came to represent ideals of wifely love. As a kind of compliment, new brides would be compared to images of Venus. It is possible that Venus's features may be taken from the brides, which is thought to be the case for Lorenzo Lotto's Venus and Cupid. Her face appears specific and might represent a Renaissance bride. Even the use of plants refers to marriage. Venus stands against a tree trunk with vines wrapping around her. The motif of a vine wrapping around a tree had become a cliché for everlasting love by the time of the Renaissance. It can be found in other works such as Venus and Cupid by Lorenzo Lotto. With the inclusion of the tree and vines and the references to love, it is possible that Venus and Cupid could have commemorated a marriage. Images of Venus not only celebrated marriages, but encouraged reproduction. Although frivolous sex was looked down on, chaste sex was seen as a necessary way to continue the human race. Venus Genitrix, another version of Venus, represented the urge for sexual intercourse that informs all of nature. Various plants and flowers grow among animals at the bottom of the painting, symbolizing fertility. Rabbits, for example, have a strong association with reproduction. References to fertility can be found in similar works. In Lorenzo Lotto's Venus and Cupid, Cupid urinates on his mother through a laurel wreath, an act meant to symbolize fertility. Because of their associations with sexuality and fertility, works of art containing Venus and Cupid became popular subjects for the bedroom. By having sex in the presence of gods, the children conceived were thought to be healthier and more beautiful. Images of gods and goddesses, especially those associated with sexuality and fertility, were thought to improve the quality of sex and the offspring that follow. Due to strong associations with love, marriage, and fertility, images of Venus and Cupid became popular subjects when analyzing and representing love in the Renaissance. Venus and Cupid by Domenico Beccafumi contains many discourses that surrounded love. The bisecting of the painting and the references to courtly and heavenly love through Venus and her surroundings represent how those in the Renaissance viewed love. It had the potential to create as well as destroy. The painting also references marriage through the twisting of the vine around the tree. Venus herself was something for men to compare their wives to. The references to sex and fertility likely mean that the painting was displayed in a bedroom to spur procreation between married individuals. Through the guise of mythology, artists, patrons, and viewers could enter debates concerning mythological figures, but also more risque topics such as love and sex.